Here are today's headlines. Senator Lauren Legarda clears Special Assistant to the President Christopher Bongo of any involvement in the Navy frigate acquisition project. The Presidential Task Force on Media Security vows to ensure the improvement of security of journalists in the country. Police filed charges against an Egyptian national suspected of being a terrorist commander. A veteran photojournalist is set to open an exhibit in honor of the EDSA People Power Revolution. Good day, I'm Pia Rosas Morato. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Senator Lauren Legarda insisted on clearing Special Assistant to the President Christopher Bongo on the 18 billion peso Navy frigate project. This came after other involved officials also denied Go's involvement. Here's our report.
Senator Lauren Legarda on Monday said it was very clear that Special Assistant to the President Christopher Bongo did not intervene in the controversial frigate acquisition project of the Philippine Navy. The FAP is one of the key components of the Armed Forces of the Philippines Modernization Program, which aims to provide the country with the capability to deal with air, surface, and subsurface threats. The 18 billion warship deal was practically completed during the time of President Benigno Aquino III, but was stalled in its final stages. A contract dispute between the Navy and Hyundai Heavy Industries arose over the choice of who should provide the Critical Combat Management System, or the CMS, to be installed on the frigates, at which time Bongo was accused of intervening in the selection process by opposition lawmakers. This was after the broadsheet Philippine Daily Inquirer and online news outlet Rappler claimed that Go allegedly gave Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana an order endorsing a contending supplier for the CMS. All key players in the FAP denied that Go intervened in the project. Legarda dismissed the allegations against the palace official, adding that while she fully supports the FAP and AFP's modernization program, authorities involved in the process must not be reprimanded for doing their jobs. Nevertheless, Legarda said that the investigation should continue to let the public understand where the taxpayers' money goes and to highlight the importance of protecting the country's sovereignty. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Joyce Rocamora.
The Office of the Ombudsman charged former Sulu Governor Abdusakar Tan and his son Maimbong Sulu Mayor Samir Tan for allegedly failing to file their statements of assets, liabilities, and net worth from 2007 to 2011. The Ombudsman said Abdusakar allegedly failed to file his SALN for the years 2007 to 2010, while Samir failed to submit his own SALN for years 2010 and 2011. The Ombudsman recommended a total bail bond of 50,000 and 20,000 pesos for the temporary liberty of Abdusakar and Samir respectively. In the related administrative case, the Ombudsman suspended Samir for 6 months, while Abdusakar was fined an equivalent of his 6-month salary. However, the Ombudsman dismissed the graft charges filed against Abdusakar by his former political opponent, Temujin Tulaway, and critic Abner Tahil on the alleged irregular release of suspected Abu Sayyaf Group members in 2013. The Parish Pastoral Council for Responsible Voting opposed a proposal to postpone anew the Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan polls set on May 14. PPCRV Chair and former COMELEC Commissioner Rene Sarmiento said, repeated postponement of elections will not be good for the Philippines and democracy. He said periodic election is a must to give the electorate an opportunity to retain performing elected public officials and remove non-performers. Last week, Representative Reynaldo Umali sought the postponement of the forthcoming polls to 2019. He said that holding the village and youth polls this year would be costly for the government as it will be spending some 8 billion pesos once approved. It would be the third time that the polls have been suspended. The election was originally set in October 2016, but was moved to October 2017 and again to May this year. The government is likely to use up to 20 billion pesos in cigarette excise taxes as a crackdown on illicit products yielded up to 60,000 fake cigarettes spreading in the market monthly. Here's our report.
Policemen and officials of the National Bureau of Investigation, or NBI, confiscated last week an estimated 4 million pesos worth of fake cigarettes in 2 separate raids conducted in Barangay 35 and Singkang Airport in Bacolod City. Boxes of counterfeit products of Mighty Corporation and Philip Morris were also previously discovered in a cigarette factory illegally operating in Bulacan. Manus Kokorakis, general manager of JDI Philippines, which bought the Mighty Corporation, said they have discovered up to 60,000 cases of Mighty cigarettes with fake tax stamps being sold on a monthly basis. With this, the government is seen to lose about 20 billion pesos worth of taxes from cigarette products this year alone due to the continued proliferation of counterfeit products. Kokorakis expressed his commitment to provide intelligence information to authorities to address the illegal cigarette trade, citing that for every 1 billion pesos in gross revenues, the government makes 800 million in taxes. He said the legitimate tobacco industry has a huge responsibility to support the government and the efforts of the Secretary of Finance, the Bureau of Internal Revenue, and the Bureau of Customs. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
The Department of Trade and Industry reminded businesses in Palawan to follow the DTI-endorsed suggested retail prices of commodities and avoid overpricing. DTI Palawan Provincial Director Rosenda Fortunado said businesses should not take advantage of imminent price increases due to the train law. Rosenda reminded sellers to place price tags on their products that consumers can see clearly. Any business establishment owner caught doing unfair pricing may face imprisonment among other penalties. The DTI Palawan chief said any movement in prices were minimal and only because manufacturers are using gasoline in production. She said the manufacturers have already adjusted their increase by only 1 to 2% of the old SRP last year. The DTI Palawan has since conducted price monitoring among big wholesalers on the new SRPs, and they were glad to note that the pegs were within what they have recommended. In municipalities, however, prices are slightly higher as sellers claim to fare to transport their goods has also increased. Still to come, the Presidential Task Force on Media Security vows to ensure the improvement of security of journalists in the country. Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio urges communicators to stop the spread of misinformation. These and more when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Kaya ako nasabing fake news po ito. Kasi unang-una, nakalagay Bongo intervenes in 15.5 project to acquire Philippine warships. Malisyoso. Hindi pa nga nila sigurado kung nag-intervene ako. Alam ko ito, intervenes kagad. Pangalawa, yung amount, 15.5 billion. Ano bang pinag-aawayan dito? Kanina pa tayo nag-uusap dito. CMS. Hindi na yung ship mismo. Pero nilagay nila 15.5 billion. Pangatlo, nakalagay dyan, binaliktad ko yung desisyon. Binaliktad ko ba? Meron ba akong ginawang pagbabaliktad? Your Honor, andi dito naman po lahat ng mga gentlemen from Philippine Navy. Sir, since nandito na rin tayo, pwede nyo isa-isahin lahat. Kung meron ba akong tinawagan, tinanong, o nag-influence man lang ako na para ibaliktad. Isa lang. Pag may nakapagturo, paglabas ko rito, I will resign. Pag merong kapag sabi na, if I intervene.
The Presidential Task Force on Media Security emphasized the need to ensure the safety of journalists in the country as it aims to improve the well-being of media professionals under the Duterte administration. Here's our report.
Presidential Task Force on Media Security Executive Director Undersecretary Joel Egco assured that the government will leave no stone unturned in making the Philippines a safer and much better place for local and international journalists. During the first National Information Convention plenary session entitled Knowing and Understanding Media at the SMX Convention Center in SM Lanang in Davao City, EGCO stressed that failure is not an option in this government's effort. President Rodrigo Duterte signed Administrative Order No. 1 creating the PTFOMS to address media killings and harassments, which made the country one of the world's most dangerous places for journalists in previous years. EGCO said that PTFOMS Protocol's handbook has been published containing sets of specific timelines and action plans designed to institutionalize the best practices in global media security for adoption in the Philippines' unique media environment. The Philippines is currently number 5 in the CPJ's Global Impunity Index, but the PTFOMS official said the Philippines should be able to solve all cases of killings and be taken off the list by 2020. With the invaluable support of Office of the President, media partners, and other stakeholders, EGCO has expressed optimism that making the country a safer place for media will be achieved under the Duterte administration. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Bench Bondok.
More than 3,000 modern public utility jeepneys will be deployed within the next 3 months in support of the Public Utility Vehicle Modernization Program. Transportation Undersecretary Thomas Orbos said he sees an improvement in the public transportation within the next few months due to the commitments of the transport groups and cooperatives to replace their old and dilapidated jeepneys with modern ones. He said Secretary Arthur Tugadic ordered the immediate deployment of the PUVs to ensure the comfort and convenience to passengers. As a result of the PUV modernization, the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board is crafting the local public transport route plan that will become a basis for the granting of PUV franchises. A private transport supplier committed to deliver 20,000 new PUVs per year, while another supplier pledged to help operators in processing financing requirements and rolling out the units. Transport Group signed a MOA with Eco Daip Incorporated for fleet management. Meanwhile, transport groups will encourage their members to join cooperatives to gain better access to resources, shares, costs, and maximize profits. The Philippines has urged Mexico-based companies to look into the possibility of making the Philippines the center of their operations and an entry point to the lucrative ASEAN market. Finance Secretary Carlos Dominguez said in a statement that Mexico can take advantage of the Philippines' young, talented workforce and reasonable labor costs. Mexico is now emerging as an exporter and manufacturer of high-technology goods. He extended his invitation to technology entrepreneurs through Mexican Ambassador Gerardo Lozano Arredondo during their recent meeting to discuss ways of expanding economic relations between the Philippines and Mexico. The Philippines, Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam comprise a strong ASEAN market with a population of 613 million. The legal counsel of self-confessed drug lord Rolando Kerwin Espinosa Jr. was ambushed just across the Cebu City courthouse shortly before noon Monday. Lawyer Jonah John Ungab died of a gunshot wound in the head at Chonghua Hospital in Mandaue City. The incident happened right after the promulgation of Espinosa at the regional trial court. Ungab, who is also the municipal vice mayor of Ronda, Cebu, was leaving the courthouse along Sergio Osmeña Street in the North Reclamation area when an unidentified gunman shot him. His wife, Pearl, who was also in the car, escaped the ambush unscathed. Police investigators recovered 2 empty shells from a .45 caliber pistol, but have yet to determine the motive of the killing and the identities of the gunmen. Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio called on communicators to work on keeping the public well informed while stopping the spread of misinformation. Here's our report.
Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio hailed and thanked the Presidential Communications Operations Office for holding the National Information Convention in Davao City as she urged communicators to contribute in defeating all forms of misinformation in the country. Duterte Carpio expresses hope that the planning sessions would encourage communicators to be engaged with the communication policy plan intended to eliminate redundancy and to concentrate information dissemination. The Davao mayor said the initiative, together with the proposed Comprehensive Communications Committee analyzing public opinion, would once and for all defeat all forms of misinformation. Duterte Carpio noted that communication serves as the clutch of the government's vehicle that allows its advocacies to keep rolling towards good governance. She, however, reminded that government communication is beyond informing the public but also involves advocating the government's thrusts and engaging the citizens for a well-informed public. The NIC opened in Davao City Monday with close to 2,000 participants from different regions nationwide. The event is aimed at strengthening partnership between the public and private sector communicators. This will also serve as the springboard to building a movement wherein communicators model responsible sharing of information and use their platforms to inspire civic engagement. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Chris Mundo.
Up next, police filed charges against an Egyptian national suspected of being a terrorist commander. A veteran journalist is set to open an exhibit in honor of the EDSA People Power Revolution. These and more when the PNA Newsroom returns.
Serving the Philippine presidency for 3 decades, the presidential broadcast staff, Radio Television Malacanang, has been at the forefront in video documentation of the official activities of the nation's presidents and informing the citizenry of government's programs and policies through our broadcast partners. Created in 1987, RTVM is an attached agency to the Office of the Press Secretary, now Presidential Communications Operations Office. It operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, providing the broadcast facilities and technical requirements of the chief executive in various activities all over the Philippines and in international engagements. For the past years, RTVM has served international events by heading the Media and Communications Secretariat and managing the International Media Center. Under the 5 previous administrations, RTVM has produced television and radio programs aired in government media. In collaboration with the PCOO, RTVM continues to create of-service programs for the Filipino people, with the nation entering a new chapter of leadership under President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. RTVM continues to fulfill its mandate of serving the broadcast needs of the presidency and making the news available to our media partners for public information. It remains steadfast in its commitment to produce high-quality video production materials to better service the needs of the presidency, our media partners, and the Filipino people.
Filipinos can now be well informed of government plans and projects from the initiative of President Duterte every time, anywhere. Catch all these in one place with the Duterte mobile app. Catch the latest newscasts via PTV on time. Listen to the latest activities and speeches of the President via the RTVM channel. See the President's weekly report on Duterte on Duty. Interact by putting your own caption for the photo of the week. Listen to commentaries and latest news updates via Radyo Pilipinas. Engage online by browsing through the Presidential Communications social media accounts. Real-time updates from the government right at your fingertips. Download the Duterte app now.
Presidential Communications Secretary Martin Andanar on Tuesday encouraged public information officers and communicators to join the PCOO in waging war against disinformation and misinformation as well as fake news. Andanar made the challenge to more than 1,600 participants, most of which were public information communicators from 16 regions during the first National Information Convention held in Davao City, where he urged the delegates to go down to the grassroots to counter fake news. The communications chief assured that the PCOO is behind public communicators in their efforts to bring truthful and factual information even to ordinary people about the government's programs and projects, and through the NIC, government and private media can fight fake news through media literacy. During the NIC, Andanar presented a video excerpt of Monday's Senate inquiry into the Navy's frigate acquisition project, where Special Assistant to the President Bongo dared online news outlet Rappler and the Philippine Daily Inquirer to write factual and not fake news. Rappler and the Inquirer wrote stories alleging that Go had intervened in the acquisition of the 18 billion peso frigate project, an accusation that Go has repeatedly denied. In the related development, Andanar led the official launching of the Do 30 application, a media platform where everyone can have access to information about the government's campaign against disinformation. Andanar said, "The app is a gift to more than 62 million active mobile phone users who can now report crime, government anomalies, and send other inquiries which will be handled by the concerned government agencies and acted upon immediately." The Do 30 app will also serve as a bulletin board where President Rodrigo Duterte may post any message he wants to convey to his constituents and engage the public in general to become partners for change. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Abs Abando.
Police arrested an Egyptian national in Manila who is suspected of being a commander of the Islamic State terror group. The suspect has reportedly been traveling in and out of the country since 2016. Here's our report.
The Philippine National Police filed criminal charges before the Department of Justice against an Egyptian national tagged by authorities as a commander of international terrorist group Islamic State or ISIS. Femi Lasquet and his Filipino live-in partner Annabel Saripada were brought to the DOJ for inquest proceedings as they were charged with illegal possession of explosive devices and firearms. The two were arrested in Ermita, Manila on Friday by joint operatives of PNP and Philippine Army pursuant to a search warrant issued by the Makati City Regional Trial Court. The government cited as evidence the explosive devices seized from the couple, including 4 pipes, 2 batteries, 3 capacitors, 2 integrated circuits, 3 battery clips, 11 resistors, and a handgun and ammunition. During the inquest proceeding, Senior Assistant State Prosecutor Peter Ong said the two met their lawyer from the Public Attorney's Office, or PAO, and decided to execute a waiver to their arbitrary detention and proceed with a preliminary investigation on February 28. PNP Chief Ronald De La Rosa earlier said Lasquet, a suspected ISIS commander and recruiter for the international terrorist group who entered the country in July 2016 using a forged Tunisian passport. Lasquet denied the allegations but admitted that his passport was indeed fake, although he clarified that he had no terrorist intentions in the Philippines. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
The Bureau of Immigration is set to deport a convicted British pedophile wanted by authorities in the United Kingdom for failing to report his whereabouts in the past 2 years. BI Commissioner Jaime Morentes said Leslie Charles Rosen was arrested in Sitio Campag, Barangay Pitalo, San Fernando, Cebu by operatives from the Bureau's Fugitive Search Unit. Rosen will be deported for posing a risk to Filipino children whom he might victimize. The British national is a registered sex offender who was obliged by the court to periodically notify authorities about his location and address. But Rosen stopped complying with the notification requirements in September 2015 when he fled to the Philippines and did not return to the UK since then. A British court convicted and sentenced Rosen to 7 years in prison in 1993 for molesting 3 boys who were under age 16. Rosen has frequently traveled back and forth to the Philippines after serving his sentence. The Department of Education is looking forward to a more competitive 2018 Palarong Pambansa with various regional athletic associations, boosting the capability of their delegations. DepEd Assistant Secretary Revsi Escobedo said majority of the regional athletic associations have already commenced their sports meet. Escobedo was the keynote speaker during the opening of the Western Visayas Regional Athletic Association, or WVRAA, meet Sunday afternoon. In his address, he expressed belief that Western Visayas, which ranked third after NCR and Calabarzon in 2017, will be the team to beat in this year's Palaro. Iloilo Governor Arthur Defensor Sr. said that the region's participation is expected to be stronger with the presence of Negros Occidental, which ranked fourth in the 2017 National Sports Meet. The WVRAA gathered nearly 4,000 participants from Aklan, Antique, Capiz, Guimaras, Negros Occidental, and the host province of Iloilo. The next Palarong Pambansa will be held in Vigan City, Ilocos Sur. Veteran photojournalist Sunny Camarillo will hold a photo exhibit in honor of the 32nd anniversary of the 1986 EDSA Revolution. Here's our report.
The spirit of the historic 1986 EDSA People Power Peaceful Revolution that restored democracy in the Philippines will be relived in a 1001 photo exhibit by veteran photojournalist Sunny Camarillo at the Trinoma Mall in Quezon City on February 22. Former President Fidel V. Ramos, one of the key players at EDSA People Power in February 1986, has accepted the invitation to be the guest of honor and speaker at the opening day of the exhibit. The other key players during that historic event were former Minister of Defense and Senator Juan Ponce Enrile, the late Jaime Cardinal Sin, Archbishop of Manila, former Army Colonel and now Senator Gregorio Gringo Honasan, and the late Senator Boots Aquino, to name a few. Camarillo, a daring photojournalist and past president of the Camera Club of the Philippines and Press Photographers of the Philippines, covered the historic event that stunned the whole world. In that 4-day peaceful revolt, over 3 million people gathered in Epifanio de los Santos Avenue in Quezon City, following an urgent call by Cardinal Sin over Radio Veritas to protect rebel soldiers led by Enrile and Ramos, who were holed out at Camp Aguinaldo and Camp Crame amid the threat of being attacked by government forces loyal to former President Ferdinand Marcos. The mass action resulted in the toppling of the government and the ouster of Marcos, who fled to Hawaii and lived in exile until his death. Corazon C. Aquino, the presidential candidate of the opposition, was installed as the 12th President of the Philippines on February 25, 1986. Images and pictures taken and preserved for posterity by Camarillo during that historic event will be displayed during the photo exhibit for the public, especially for the young generation to see. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Benj Bondo.
Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Here's another look at today's headlines. Senator Lauren Legarda clears Special Assistant to the President Christopher Bongo of any involvement in the Navy frigate acquisition project. The Presidential Task Force on Media Security vows to ensure the improvement of security of journalists in the country. Police filed charges against an Egyptian national suspected of being a terrorist commander. A veteran photojournalist is set to open an exhibit in honor of the EDSA People Power Revolution. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and all that it is doing for the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And that's your daily dose of the hottest news and the latest information that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. I'm Pia Rosas Morato. Good day.